with everything first. Every first time is always complicated, so uh, hopefully we got it working.
Yeah,
So we can get
it's
started.
definitely. It was my first time streaming, and you streamed what, 3 years ago now? It's been a while.
Yeah, that didn't go well either, but I'll keep that story for another time.
All right.
All right. Um,
So let's see. Who do we have in the chat? Whole bunch
anyone
of
we know of?
everyone.
Yeah.
Is
Okay, I recognize a few names. Yeah,
is Bibit Boy here?
don't think so, but
I feel like I talk to him every day now.
yeah. All right.
All right.
Um,
Do you want to jump
and
right into
yeah,
the
one thing.
questions?
Yeah, let's get to it. Anyone also? We have the subscriber count right there. We might be lucky and be hitting the 100K right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's
Hopefully we go in the right direction.
yeah. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
So to prepare for this, we asked a few people, posted on a few different channels for some questions preliminarily. We logged those beforehand, so we'll go through those pre-made ones first, and then we'll start looking towards the chat for some more questions that we hopefully can answer.
yeah.
We're going to be doing this interview style, so Leo's going to be the master answer person, and I will be fielding the questions that he can answer.
Yeah.
All right, so from our Patreon Discord, we had a couple questions. First up from Beast Mode 6041. What is the final vision for the Bibites? Like, if it's still around and growing in 10 years, where do you see it?
It's funny that I already answered this like in the last stream like three 3 years ago, but I think I've shared my vision oftentimes, and the goal is just to make the game very very open ended and allow for as much possibilities as possible. Um, like in the full vision, I think I've mentioned this in one of the videos, but like my ultimate fantasy um, is something like beavers bibit or beaver like bibits being possible, meaning that bibits will have any enough interactions with their environments that they'll be able to fully modify it. Like the best example I could give to um, where the state of the bibits is right now um, would be that um, bibits would be to able to influence the zones themselves. They would spread. They would create fertility basically wherever they defecated, if we added something like that. Uh, and yeah, like of course all the biome implementation, evolutions of plants as well, environmental simulation like eat, complete rework of the evolutionary algorithm through biome.
Yeah.
Uh, what else? Like complete
Oh,
rework of the pheromones. Full like I think this just gonna be an infinite project where we can always add more.
yeah.
Uh, so the plan is to just keep adding more stuff, and either I die doing it or I get bored.
Yeah.
But I promise that in any shape or form, if I ever get bored of this project, which with 8 years going in doesn't seem to be the case anytime soon, at least. Well, I hope to be able to uh, open source it to at least let the community enjoy um, and be able to keep going by themselves.
Yeah. I agree. That's part of our values is to share the project as much as possible.
Yeah.
The chat is demanding dementia. They're wondering when we'll be possibly incorporating dementia as a feature to our poor Bibit brains.
Um, what does that mean? Uh, Dementia, like age
Yeah, maybe
degeneration.
some neurological degradation to the connections between synapses as they
Well,
age.
that's free for that's up to them to evolve. From my understanding, like degenerescence and things like that are pretty much an evolutionary feature for for in our case for real life. So, like there are life forms that just continuously um, renew themselves and don't have to go through such a stage. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, well,
that's up to them
hopefully
to evolve.
for the Bibit's sake, they don't need to evolve that to be successful in our simulation.
Yeah.
Um, so you talked a little bit about the complexity of the Bibits. I know we've talked a lot about where this possibly could go, but could you give us a little bit more about your vision on where you possibly see this going for like usability, like how the community can interact with the Bibits moving forward in the future?
Well, of course, the goal is to make as much as possible, but it's always a balance between like um, user functionalities and simulation complexities. In fact, like just the simple fact that when you look at the code base, uh, like there's I think at max like 15 actual simulation scripts, like the zones, the bibit body, like the few organs, the pellets, the materials, and that's it. Like basically,
Yeah,
uh, and I think now that I recall, I think 20, but like at most 20 actual simulation scripts, and all the rest is just the logic for all the UI, all the functionalities, all the user interaction stuff, all the save system, things like that. So,
yeah,
like the fact that the core project, the actual simulation is just 20 scripts big, and everything else is just like the I guess we must be getting close to 1,000 scripts, or at least a few hundreds.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so
It's incredible.
so yeah, but of course, like the goal, like if it was just up to me and I could snap my finger and it would magically go, then as much interaction as possible. Like of course, when we implement more environmental stuff, being able to control more of like the temperatures, the fertility manually
Hmm.
as a paint tool of the kind of some sort, but don't
Yeah,
have to don't have to go. Oh
yeah.
yeah, people are really going on about dementia in there.
It's a hot topic.
Hmm, what can I say?
Um, yeah, I think I remember or recall you saying at one point to me, something that stuck with me is that if you can't visualize it within the game, then does it really count? Meaning, you can have this incredibly complex system behind the scenes, but if you're a user, not in the code base, then you don't really see that.
Yeah,
So I think one of the goals that you've been striving towards in the Bibits is bringing all of that complexity out for the user to see. And
yeah,
I think we'll continue to do that for any of
yeah.
the features that you add moving forward.
A lot of one thing that would be very important or useful would be to be able to expose more of the logic and the code directly, especially all the functions and so on. I try my best to put them inside the tooltips and so on, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess we would need a more straightforward way of displaying that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be very useful.
Yes,
All right,
definitely.
next question.
Okay. Next question is from Mr. FHD1. Do you think there will be any major changes in priorities in future development, or do you think we have the major things planned out?
I think the major like timeline that we have planned out, and how do you call that in English? Sorry about that.
A roadmap?
Yeah, the roadmap, exactly. My bad. I think the roadmap we have planned out uh, is pretty solid. Of course, there's always like a bit of leeway. Like the vision system was eventually planned like before biome, But now it's pretty clear that they're going to be coming together because we're going to start by just moving over right away. Um, and we've kind of already started. Um, um, yeah, but I think all the bases are pretty solid. The the materials are coming right after the vision rework, uh, and all that is gonna come pretty fast, one after the other. I think. Um, yeah.
Cool. All right. Should we move on? Let's see. Next question. All right. So next we're taking questions from x.com. We had one
The
post
one
there.
question, the
Uh,
one question we got.
yeah, the one question from Lord Tadius, Lord Mc NY. My question for Q&A is, what is, in your opinion, the best part about this project?
Uh, hmm. Well, I guess I would say that just the fact that it's itself always evolving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's pretty meta. The fact that it's an evolution project that we keep working on. It's not really evolving in the sense where the project is not itself going through iterations of competition and so on, but still, I think it fits.
Mm.
And otherwise, like I would say, just the endless possibilities that it brings. Um, like I'm always surprised about things that people send to me or share on either the Patreon Discord or the few times I decide to open the Bibit Research Conglomerate, which is like the non-official, I guess, fan-made Discord, where a lot of the research and the at in the Bibits is at the forefront. So, um, so yeah, I'm always amazed by things people discover and end up with. And I think more and more as the years came, and so um, we've started reaching kind of a plateau, or like the discoveries have slowed down. So that's the major signal that we now need to very strongly focus development into the complexification of the game,
Yeah.
of the summation.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the last year for you and I, Alex, it's been like gruesome work getting this to Steam. And and yeah, it's like it was so much UI and so much functionalities and so much of all of this, like which was absolutely important, like even like the data stuff and so on, like that was primordial, um, to make it like as good as a research tool as possible and make it usable. um, but yeah, like now I can't wait to get working on the actual things I love most
Yeah.
and the actual
Absolutely.
progress of the game.
Yeah. It seems like the foundation has been set, and now we can go for a new wave of complexity additions and optimizations, which would hopefully allow a lot of people to explore further what can be made.
Exactly.
Uh,
Quickly, I just saw a few questions pop up
yeah.
earlier. Um, the game is aiming to launch. Of course, that depends on your country and so on. But yeah, it's aiming to launch at around the $10 mark, depending like USD, of course, and then that's adjusted on each country. We tried as much as possible to be fair, and like we know some countries don't uh, are not as lucky in terms of currency strength and so on. So we try to be fair. We think that's a fair price as well for the launch. Well, of course we we keep uh, we keep distributing it for free on itch as well. Uh,
Yeah.
so so
Yeah.
I think that's a fair price, and we aim to keep to in the future increase that price as we go on.
Yeah.
um, as we add more stuff and so on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now that we're 20 minutes into the stream, I think you know, it's probably a great time to introduce ourselves quickly and to kind of just give some quick announcements.
yeah,
As first time streamers, this probably should have been the first thing we did, but I think this
yeah,
time is as good as any. So yeah, I guess we just launched a demo on Steam, right? Uh,
yeah.
and so people can come play this game now if they'd like. Being we're part of the Next Fest on Steam, along with a bunch of other indie dev games. So feel free to stop by, check us out. And Unfortunately, to make sure that we've simplified the amount of releases that we have public, we'll be taking down the demo at the same time that we release the game for full on Steam, for the $10 price that Leo was just describing. But if you don't get a chance to check out the demo, the equivalent version that's launched on Steam will be available for free on itch.io, which is accessible to all, and does not contain any viruses, even if it looks like it might. Um, so yeah, come check us out. Um, I guess I'll take this opportunity to quickly introduce myself. This is the first time that I ever am talking directly to this community, which I'm honored to do so and be a part of this project. Thank you, Leo, for allowing me to be a part of this. My name's Alex. Um, I've been helping Leo out for what, 3 years now,
Yeah,
something like that.
approximately. It's
Um,
quite a journey.
yeah, but I haven't really been doing much on the development side. It's still pretty much a one man show. I just help out with some of the video stuff and
Well,
some of the other stuff that,
you've had your hands in lots of stuff. Don't
yeah,
sell yourself short.
I'm learning.
Like all the challenges, and that's pretty much your baby.
Yeah.
In the sense, I was pretty against it at first, like, but I think it was a good call, and it was pretty easy to implement in the end.
Yeah.
Like, didn't take too long.
No,
Oh,
people enjoy it.
by the way, thanks a lot to Sammy
Oh yeah,
for the donation. I
appreciate it.
guess we can answer this question right away. Just think that's worth it. Um,
Yeah. Um, let's see. Where is the From Sammy, where is the most complexity to optimize? Can it leverage GPU acceleration?
that's a big that's a big focus that we're gonna need to have very soon because that's a clear limitation of the simulation right now, and that's like the main limit on what can be achieved and the speed at which evolution takes place and the diversity of your environments. That's all correlated to performance. So um, I would say the main drawback, the main roadblock to optimization right now is just the state of the code and the legacy that it all holds. Um, like obviously, this is a project I started like I think we're getting close to 9 years ago,
Yes.
which is dizzying. But yeah, like I'm not a programmer. I'm by trade I'm an electrical engineer. By study, I guess. So I didn't know how to code properly. I did a lot of easy mistakes and so on. And I kept improving and building up and changing some parts, but there's still like this big core of the summation that's like spaghetti and legacy code. So of course, when keep talking about biome, the biome algorithm, that's basically a complete redesign of the 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 evolutionary algorithm that's behind the simulation. So it will be um, a completely rewrite from the ground up. So that's going to be implemented as well in dots. I think I mentioned that a few times. ECS by Unity, which is a paradigm that allows you to have multi-threaded by default code. Of course, then there's more advanced optimization that you can implement and work on, but just by that, it should allow increase in performance in the range of the 10x, 100x, depending on different thing.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah,
yeah,
and
and yeah,
anecdotally, some of the features or steps to optimization have already been taken.
yeah,
And I don't know if anyone else has been trying out the 0.61 um, version, but I've seen a market increase in performance just from some pellet optimization that a collaborator, another Alex, has helped us out with. So I'm excited to see what a full dots implementation would look like.
yeah. So thanks a lot, Sammy. Uh,
Yeah, appreciate it. We also got another donation from Crunch.
oh yeah,
Appreciate it.
no question.
Okay. Yeah, no question. They just love the Bibites, which I feel
Well,
that sentiment. Oh,
well,
so Lord Mokni was also wondering if this Q&A will be posted on YouTube.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, so
Easy,
we'll just
easy
post it
video
after.
that we don't have to grind against. Work
Yeah,
on for like 4 months on.
the easiest video ever. All right, so after our one question from X, we can move on to Reddit, where we had two questions. One from Water Dragon 1028. For how many hours it will go on? Oh, so this is just asking about the YouTube live. Well, it's going to be 1 hour. And don't worry, Water Dragon, you can watch the replay. And if you have any other questions, we we lurk around on Reddit, or you can join the Discord.
Yeah.
Okay, and then for the next one, Planet Tinex, will there be a Steam workshop?
Yeah, that's the thing I'm hard at work on right now. Steam is really not making it easy for us to launch this game. Uh, like we keep like a lot of review drama. Like we had to remove all the Patreon references and so on, and it keeps getting stuck on small details. But we'll get there, and at least locally, the progress is good. So it looks like it's going to be on track to launch with the workshop integration. It might be a bit minimal at the start, like allow you to share Bibites, share scenarios, and share um, challenges. That's it. But um, I think I, uh, I think it's going to be part. Like it's looking good.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll keep our eye on the community on what people most want, and we'll see if we
Yeah,
can accommodate them.
I've seen a few people ask for the ability to have visual mods on the workshop. Um, but yeah, that would require a bit more work on the visual mods side of things. Like that's like something I threw together very quickly to allow people to add in. It's very janky inside, so um, that's probably not going to be. That's definitely not going to be part of the workshop at first, but eventually, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's all we have for pre-made questions. So I think we can switch over to the chat and open it up for any questions that they may have.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll keep our eye on the subscribers count, although sadly it doesn't look like it's moved much.
Yeah, people. I guess people seeing this
Yeah, we have
are not
dedicated
the
fans
ones
that have
that
already
care.
subscribed.
Exactly. So,
All right, let's see. Let's bring up the chat. All right.
hey, we have Red Nuggets in the
Oh,
chat.
Rad Nugget.
All right. Um, so so when the video is taken down, do we keep our saves or do we need to save and back up all our Bibites? No, it's actually the same place it's going to be saved at locally. Um, it's proper to each app, so you're going to keep everything. The demo and the main build share the same local files, so you'll be good. Uh, no no fear needed on that side. As for if the Bibites will be on Xbox, I doubt it. uh, like just how just how it's probably never going to be built for phones. Although
Yeah.
although
S-
maybe
Yeah.
like
Well,
at some point if we improve the performances enough, but like that's good. That would require so much work on the UI. I
yeah.
don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah. So to answer all of those questions, because we see that all the time, when is Bibbits going to be on mobile? When's it going to be on this? When's it going to be on that?
Yeah.
It's, restrictive on the hardware's performance capabilities. PCs are kind of the only strongest hardware that can actually, run the Bibbits. Um, we could get around that eventually by potentially running on a server and then having some type of application as a portal to view the Bibbits running on a server. But
Mhm.
that might not even be in the realm of the 10-year time horizon. But you know, we'll keep on looking, right? We'll keep on searching for opportunities to advance that.
Yeah. I will direct everyone also to remember that we do have merch available. Uh, I myself have broken my two Bibit mugs and will need to order another one. Um, I have the poster, which is like, honestly, of all the posters I've ever had, like it's not on the right wall, but I
Yeah.
swear. And yeah, it helps a lot. In fact, uh, we don't profit that much for it from it. Like we kept the margins as small as we could make them and still turn a profit. Um, it's basically just a way of showing your love and having a bit more of Bibbits in your life. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, just because I saw a few questions related to that. Um,
Looking through now, I saw one asking about Bibbits being used at the college level for either coursework in as part of an educational curriculum or in
yeah,
college level courses. Maybe you could speak on that.
yeah. I've received a few messages already and like um, shared images and videos of teachers that already uses the simulation for in their classes, which is pretty cool. Like the most I've seen is in biology class. One teacher took uh, a full class on just having everyone in the computer um, computer room and everyone running small experiments. We've recently been helped out like just for one class, but basically having master students use the simulation for one of their taxonomy class and in order to have like a baseline, like a absolutely true lineage to compare different strategy, like classification strategies um, on and compare it against, which is pretty cool. Uh, so like to have the actual projects being used in the academic setting, and more on the scientific side, we're very probably going to be taking part into the A Life 2025 conference in Tokyo in October. At least I very much hope so. Uh, like it's an amazing event which I've only taken part of in 2020 and like just missed every deadline every year since. But this year we're on a good a good footing to present, and I really hope. I've always wanted to visit Japan as well, so good opportunity.
Yes, definitely. Um,
Um,
So I saw another one in chat from Melting Diamond, who I believe is an avid modder, and
yeah,
he's the author of a mod for world linking. I'm not sure if it's fully released yet or not. You can talk to it in the chat, or you can reach out to him in the Research Conglomerate Discord, where he's pretty active. But he asked, will sim linking be coming anytime soon? And if so, how might it be implemented?
um, of course, like it's a be able to run the simulation on the cloud and have things like that. That's one thing that's like that would be very nice and a very good boon for the project, I think. But uh, more so on the local and peer-to-peer side of things. I hope to get some time to work on at least a small implementation very soon. I feel like just the opportunity to connect like from peer to peer, just write in an IP address or something like that that you want to connect to, or maybe through Steam, I don't know, but have some link to the other and be able to just periodically import Bibites from one another that run off into the void. I think that would be pretty interesting. We might want to not do the void approach at all, since I guess that's a pretty strong incentive for Bibites to not evolve too. But still, like I think it would, especially since it's limited uh, limited in scope. I think it would make it for very interesting, and that would kind of address the performance problems in some way, since instead of having bigger simulations, you can just connect multiples across multiple users and work together. Although, like the very hard thing to uh, to figure out, I guess, is the how time links up. Like, do we want times to follow similar curves, or are they just different worlds with where light goes at different speed and like the time itself doesn't have the same speed?
Mm.
Um, that's a hard thing to figure out, but like because how weird would it be that you link your simulation to one of your buddy and your buddy just goes 100x all the time and you're stuck at 1x, and then your bibits emigrate into the other simulation and like 1 hour later come back and are like 10 times more evolved, and like that would probably make for a very interesting dynamics actually.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a lot of small things to figure out. But yeah, the end goal uh, connecting multiple sims together would just be to have like um, a server you can connect to and have be the simulation be um, spatially distributed so that like there is some connection between all of them. Um, but yeah, that's the way I would see it. I still haven't had the time to review what Melting Diamond took as an approach, but like just like the Bibit editor was very heavily influenced by Quarix, another user which had the Einstein tool. Is it what it's called?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
I forgot. Um, but yeah, that tool heavily influenced the way I developed the brain editor. So uh, it's always a it's always important to see what people have taken as approach to mod their desired features. That's
Mm.
always help.
Yes, I saw a question in here. I lost it, but someone was asking if this was a real simulation in the background. And yes, it is. Actually, is in fact a much
Just a
larger
small one.
simulation. So yeah, this is definitely wouldn't have been possible on some previous versions, but
Yeah,
um,
it's a pretty big one.
yeah, this one has 720 bibits right now, but and it's running at 3x speed, so pretty good.
Impressive. You have a good computer, Alex.
So,
Um, so Bibbits are never coming to the third dimension. I saw that question pop in a few times. Um, because just like uh, it's basically exponential how much more computation you have to do in 3D. So um, so yeah, just 2D is already hard enough. It poses very interesting challenges, just like how the internals organs are like a distribution of the internal area of the bibits and so on. Um, and it complexify a lot of stuff because many things will like look weird, right? Because some rules don't work the same, like the way muscle strength is measured, the way mass is measured, or proportional to size. All of that makes it that makes it very different. So so yeah, 3D never planned,
a
but
couple a couple people brought up the soundscape and the expectations for I guess
yeah.
I'll break it up personally into two different questions. One is background music for the game, and then the second one is will the Bibbits be able to hear, speak? Will you be able to communicate to the Bibbits audibly?
Uh, yeah, at least on that end, it's planned. Uh, like we have it. Give me a second. Yeah, sorry about that. Um, I got completely lost. My bad.
No worries. We're talking about the soundscape and the background music.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, all of that is planned eventually. It's just hard to commit to a direction, and like the way I have like a background music and so on. Um, like that's easy enough to do, but then that becomes the identity of the project, right? So we want to do it well. We've collaborated with a few creators in the past for like the music for the intro in the videos and the background music in the videos. That's the direction we were taking, but yeah, we just ran out of time for the Steam release. That would have been nice, uh, but yeah. As for as Bibit communication, that's uh, that's kind of what pheromones do. I admit that at the moment they are very limited, but that's absolutely yeah. That would be a. I don't have any plans for it, although they'll in 2020 when I went to the Artificial Life conference, there was a project completely focused on evolution of communication in noisy setups, which was like very interesting, um, and I've always looked up to. Um, and yeah, so so that's as far as I can get it,
Okay.
honestly. Uh, but I'd like to, if we find some way of doing it intelligently without every single bibbit in the world hearing every single bibbit in the world.
Yeah.
That would that would be great.
Okay, another question comes in from um, Rad Nugget. He's asking, oh, did you already answer the corpses one?
No, don't think
So
so.
Rad Nugget asked if corpses are planned anytime soon.
Uh, well, they would mainly be a visual thing, right? Um, so I don't think the have a lot of focus and interest going that direction. Um, because that's pretty much what happens. Um, I guess the only difference could be that Bibites keep their shape and armor, uh, and you still have to, even if you kill the Bibit, you still have to get through their armor before consuming them. But um, I'm not sure how much complexity it would add. Like that's a concern that you always have to keep in mind, right? Because when you add when especially nowadays, when I add a feature to the simulation or I add more complexity, I try to imagine, is there just like one thing I want to see evolve out of this? Is there like one behavior I want to see made possible because of this, or I want this to be a tool for evolution to really play around with and allow to for a lot more diversity to take place. And in the case of corpses, I just maybe I haven't seen like the full case for it, um, for it to be necessary or what it would bring. But yeah,
Yeah, I think that's just probably going to be revisited with the materials rework when there's additional materials. Maybe we differentiate between just
mhm.
a singular meat pellet. Maybe there's a variety of different things. Maybe a corpse is, the bibit disintegrating into the different entities that make it up: fat, bone, meat,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
whatever
on
direction
that
we
sense,
go.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In that sense, yeah. Like as soon as the vision system is reworked and more materials are possible, like yeah, we're looking at a very easy increase of yeah, fat being its own thing and being dropped, structural muscles, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
and revamping the actual material system. Um, so just a quick question. Yeah, I'm from Quebec. Un fier Québécois. Uh, but yeah, that's the name of the Bibites basically. That means small insect in Quebec. So that's what the Bibites means. And that's why it's written all weird like that. And no one seems to be able to pronounce it.
Mentioned it to a coworker the other day, and he mentioned that Bibbits is a drink in Italian,
Yeah,
drinks in Italian. So it's definitely
exactly.
got Latin origins.
Yeah. And in France, it means something a bit more non-safe for work, uh, which I should have seen in hindsight. But yeah,
Well, people can
speaking
look that
French
up on
and
their
all,
own.
but yeah,
Okay.
we don't have the same expressions here in Quebec, so I'll I'll
you get
let it
you get a
slide for my.
pass.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, Big Horton asked, "Will there be a Bibbit Instagram?"
Just like with the, I already have such a hard time maintaining the few platforms, the few social platforms I'm on. Like it's crazy how much like just YouTube, how much
Yeah,
we neglect YouTube and how much like
yeah,
more we should upload, but like it's such a hard balance, like working on videos versus working on the game, and it's just not where my my heart lies.
yeah,
And just the same with Twitter. I should be posting like 10 times more like every day, but like I just forget and I get so much absorbed in the work that I forget that it exists. I'm just like, oh shit, right.
yeah,
I probably should, it's been like 1 month I haven't looked at the Reddit. I
yeah.
probably should. At least I'm a bit more active and like on the Discord. on the Patreon Discord, but I get paid for that, so that's
A
and
good
that's so much
incentive.
easier. Yeah, a good incentive, and
Yeah.
um, like it's people that have been supporting the project for so long that um, that like I feel a strong uh, connection, and like I value their input, and like uh, I run up to it every time I can.
Hmm.
So I basically always have the the Discord open and try to interact with the community as much as possible because that's valuable to me also as
Hmm.
someone not going out that much.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah, and I think we've actually forgotten that we had a TikTok account, so definitely too much to handle right now.
yeah, um, yep.
Um, in a similar vein, a question came in about what's the current primary income source?
Right now it's absolutely Patreon, like by a big margin. I think like 70% of my living income comes from Patreon. 70%. Um, like the project is very not profitable for the moment. Like in the sense, like it it's pretty stable and allows me to live and survive. That's about it. Uh,
Yeah.
but I have I have pretty low life standards, so uh,
You do
so
live frugally.
yeah, like that helps in making it possible for me to be living on this project.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, but yeah, like Patreon is the biggest supporter there,
Yeah.
and the Steam release is probably like I don't know what we can expect in terms of conversion from the wish lists and all, but it's looking good, and that would probably have some significant impact on the revenue of the project and what we can um, what we can finance and so on. Because
Yeah.
of course, like I don't plan on taking a significant portion of the revenues from Steam, and mostly it's going to be uh, reinvested in the project,
Right. I mean, that's
allowing
one of the reasons why we were able to even think about putting out a call for help with video editing.
yeah,
So hopefully, that income revenue stream can be put back into making more content from the community. So we're definitely excited for that.
yeah, and get more on the development team and able to support more people and allow to progress this project faster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Someone was asking about your sneak peek at potential animations.
yeah.
Any thoughts on that and timeline for when that could possibly occur?
Um, yeah, that's something I hope to get worked on the next year. Basically, the code is pretty much ready, right? In the sense where what I showed pretty much implements all the logic for procedural animations. Of course, there's some improvements that need to be made to like to some regard, but otherwise, like it's pretty much like 90% done. So every the only thing that remains is the is to actually do the art and turn that preview because like in that preview what you were seeing was the normals, so the position of uh, each sprite on each body segment and so on, but then I would need to actual color code this and like make it appealing and bring it as close as possible to the actual feel and appearance of the game. Like we've been very lucky um, to have an artist, which is the famous Brax, which has worked on making the procedural sprites for the Bibites up to now. But one thing is clear is that if we want to make more dynamism possible and have more complex body plans and more genetic components that influence the look, um, then we're gonna have to make it so that it's all procedural and not actual art, right? That's the only way we're going to be able to move forward and have more complex visual complexities for the Bibites. So, yeah, um, I really hope to get that working in the next year.
All right, so we have about 5 minutes left on this live stream, so we can take maybe one or two more questions. Um,
Probably I should answer more quickly as well. I think I keep rambling on these.
yeah, I think that's good. Someone just asked about nesting and burrowing,
Yeah,
or maybe mammal birthing. I guess no egg laying. We did have live birds at one point. Are we bringing
like
that back?
for 2 seconds, like until we realized that was very broken, and we just undid our changes there until we could figure out a more interesting system. Um, but yeah, the at some point the logic would be to want to have bibbits develop themselves in the womb and actually develop instead of just it being like a set of genes that decide what maturity you are at birth and that's it. Um, Although that's always trade-off in complexity versus actual functionalities and what it adds to the simulation. Um, but yeah, um, like we'll see for
Yeah.
live birth. But live birth should all obviously come back at some point, but um, it's hard to say when and how much of a priority that is. As for borrowing, I think I talked about it like in a like very far away,
Yeah.
probably 2 years ago or something like that. Um, but yeah, it would be cool to allow Bibbits to like dig to a deeper, like another plane, maybe like that being burrows or something like that. Um, but again, like the logic and so on, like what would it bring? How much complexities? Um, like would it just double your simulation area, or would Bibbits actually use it and develop interesting dynamics?
Mhm.
So I think uh, it's it's something I thought about a lot and wanted to implement pretty quickly. But the more I thought about it, and the less like complex dynamics I think it would add for the work that it is to add. So
Mhm.
it's still something I would like to see, but it's just so much less of a priority compared to all the biome implementations and the vision rework and the materials, adding more materials. So yeah, um, it's just but yeah, someday I'd like to see that.
Mhm. All right. So I think we can do one more question from Tardigrado.
I
Um,
think we can give them a few more since like we took like
sure.
5 minutes
Yeah.
to get started.
That's fair. That's fair. We can keep it going. So Tardigrado is asking, do you plan to add anything else after version 1.0? And do you plan to add things like claws and horns to the Bibbits?
Well, any more complexity is always going to be welcomed and important to add. Um, like more like body parts and so on. As soon as we start be able to add more materials, and so that's going to be like a pretty significant thing. Um, I think there was a first part to that question, but I already forgot it. What was it?
Oh, after version 1.0,
Oh yeah, yeah.
is there going to be more additions in the
Um,
future?
well, like at some point, uh, having a 1.0 versions for this project doesn't even make sense, right? um, like it feels like it's always there's always going to be more to add.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I I guess like if we would have something like 1.0, it could even be like the next version if we go far enough into the implementation of biome and so on, of the new evolutionary algorithm. That could be um 1.0, in the sense where I feel like it's going to be a fresh start for the Bibites, like a whole new algorithm powering the simulation itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like if any update makes it like uh, warrant going to 1.0, it's probably going to be that, since it's going to be such a huge step, both in terms of complexity and performances,
Yeah.
right? But hard to say if that's going to be like fully implemented by zero point 0.7 or zero point 0.8. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you don't mind, I can add on to that a little bit, maybe a different perspective.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
think, as you mentioned, this is going to be supported long into the future, and hopefully even past
Yeah.
us, when we eventually are done developing it directly. The community can take it from there. But the so 1.0 is still just the beginning in our eyes. And I think maybe what 1.0 would represent is when we decide or feel like the underlying algorithms are not going to be advancing at such a rapid pace that it's going to be disrupting the balance
Yeah.
and the user created scenarios and Bibit templates and their survivability. Because
Good
right
point.
now, until 1.0, there's going to be some unfortunate advances in the simulation that might cause to the demise of some Bibit lineages. We'll do our best to keep them alive, but it can be expected.
Yeah. Just like every single update right now just pretty much breaks every previous simulation, not in the sense where it bugs out, but just like the rules of the simulation, the systems that are simulated, and everything. Just like taking Bibites from zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.6, with all the new organs and so on, was so complex, for no reason. Like uh, we lost so much time on trying to make the Bibit from the previous versions like backward compatible and be able to be ported. That, yeah, like it's like with everything, it's in every project, I guess it's a balance.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, we have a flood more of questions in the chat. Someone's asking, can Bibbits sense emotions?
Uh, hard to say. Even for ourselves, like in the brain, we don't have like a specific place, or that's as far as I know, on the side of psychology and neuropsychology. But there isn't like one neuron that you can say, "Oh, here, that's hatred," or something like that. But I definitely see like in very complex simulations with very high complexity brains, I see Bibbits behaving very like unpredictably, and if that isn't emotions of some kinds, I guess uh, I guess that it's already is. But
Yeah.
but one plan for one, I don't know how much I published of the planned biome algorithm, but one of the main focus is going to be basically merging genes and neurons under a similar structure, which are called nodes, but then um, splitting them across different layers, having like purely genetic um, values that influence like the base structure of the bibbits, and then it would be separated into further layers like hormonal nodes and behavioral nodes, which would be the equivalent of the neurons we have right now in the simulation. And from my studies into the subject, one thing is clear is that um, that kind of layering and if we couple that to the ability of tuning the connectivity logic between the layers, like having one or more hormonal neuron node connect very easily to any behavioral node, but not the opposite being true. That would make things like emotions much more um, easy to evolve for Bibites, since like a single node would very easily control like a large span of behaviors.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's
Yeah, so they can feel something as as they starve. um, okay, so another question came in. A few people were asking about venom. Um, various types. Could it be implemented now? What do you think it could look like? Um, if it
yeah,
is in the roadmap, how far away?
um, pretty far away. But yeah, like it's uh, it's again like a very cool thing that would probably add some dynamism to the simulation and more complexity. Um, it just is like we just have so many clear priorities. Like everyone has uh, their pet feature that they want to see possible.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want venom to be possible, or like burrows or things like that. And I have plenty of them with my beavers, um, but yeah, like the path, at least for the next year, is very clear cut in terms of what we're going to be working on and what the roadmap looks like, right?
Hmm.
Um, but for poison, that would come with I want to implement some kind of basic chemistry system to the Bibit, like a very limited one, but still. And um, if we make that possible, then poison kind of emerges, right? If we have things able to, well, I guess it would be more like a acid than actual poison, but like at some point those are equivalent, right?
Hmm.
um so yeah, um like if we implement like a bit like a very abstract chemistry system to the Bibit, at least a basic one, then allow Bibits to evolve different organs, to produce them, to dispense them, to inject them, things like that. That's the kind of things that I want to make um, possible. And when I think of venom, I try to think even higher up, um, and try to think of systems that will make much more possible. So yeah,
So, um, someone is asking if there's going to be a tutorial because the game is really complicated.
yeah,
Um,
I know.
so I know, or I haven't heard you talk much about it, but I feel like tutorials will be a lot of work. So we'll do our best to document. But I don't know if there's going to be an in-game tutorial anytime soon. I don't think it's in our plans.
Yeah. Well, it's in it's in like I think it would be needed,
Hmm.
at least to some degree, but like it's not something that I want to lose too much time on. Again, everything is a balance,
Yeah.
the way I was thinking about it is that that's very easily something we could get someone else, like a collaborator or something, someone like that, to at least to design and implement,
Hmm.
because that's pretty straightforward. Um, and it just probably requires a bit of time to get working, but it's pretty simple code wise. Um, just like localization and bringing the bibits in different languages.
Yeah.
Like code wise, it would be pretty simple to implement. It would just then be a lot and lots of going through all the code and removing all the text, and like a lot of groundwork.
Hmm.
So hopefully, like the Steam revenues are going to be helpful for that,
Yeah.
and getting someone hired to help out with those kind of things.
Yeah. Speaking on hiring in the dev team, someone was asking about how big the dev team currently is, and are you open to having collaborators?
Yeah, we have a few collaborators. The hard thing to manage is always like the investment of time to get them on board on the project. Uh, of course, like you were the OG collaborator, which uh, which uh, joined and started helping on the project. I've had a few people look at the code before that throughout the years, which have been very helpful, especially in teaching me the bare basics of C sharp and programming. But yeah, we're always open. It's just one thing is clear is that uh, we're looking for people that are very motivated and uh, can we can trust will be interested in the long run.
Yeah.
Um, because like it's so hard like spending a lot of time getting someone on board teaching them about the code base and showing them around explaining the code and then have them post three messages and never show up like of course like that's probably on our side as well since uh we when we have collaborators we're very hands off and um we let them code free range basically.
Yeah.
but but yeah like
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously life gets busy too, when it's just a hobby. So maybe if it was could at least
yeah,
partially pay
absolutely.
for the bills, then people could be more
Yeah,
dedicated. But I mean, in that vein, I mean, Aaron, Fat Sauce, has been really
yeah,
helpful already, and Alex has joined and helped with some of the optimization. And so we've definitely already had some collaborators make an impact on the code base. And so
absolutely.
if there's anyone else that's interested in helping out, reaching out, and would be willing to put in some time to, um, actually contribute on a longer term basis, then feel free to message us at our email contact at thebibites.com.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think just from the last video we've already had like have like 20 people reaching
Yeah,
out about
yeah,
the position, so
yeah. So
like
we definitely need to follow up with them, which we
yeah
promise
like
to do shortly.
for now all hands on deck for the Steam release, but right after I think we'll start getting some showing some very interesting progress.
Yes. Okay, let's see. Oh, talking about optimization, is there any plans for pheromone optimization?
Yeah, and that probably will be the last question, just so I haven't eaten yet, so I feel my stomach grumbling.
Mm,
But yeah, about pheromones, it's true that they're very heavy at the moment. There is some work that can be done, just porting them over to a different particle system in Unity, which would probably be GPU based and more performant. That's at least just for the display. But on the way pheromones are implemented in the simulation right now are very lacking, in my opinion. Like there are just spots that gets. It's basically like spots that are dropped and an additional vision system for the Bibit, right? And especially the fact that so many um, like there's only so many pheromones that can be evolved, right?
hmm
With a different with a very even very basic chemical system, um, uh, evolving any number of pheromones, like the evolution of new pheromones itself would be possible, and I think that's something that I want to strive toward.
Yeah.
Um, additionally, have pheromones be more like an image that slowly diffuse over time and like bibits like having different physical properties that make them spread and diffuse at different speed and at different concentration and dissipate and so on would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, a little bit more
Um,
dynamic and integral to the environment.
exactly, and that's part of making the environment more complex and dynamic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's been fun. Definitely was awesome. First time stream for me. I know you've only done a few in the past, but it was awesome to talk with everyone from the community and answer some questions. Yeah, what do you think? Should we do this again sometime?
Yeah, sure. I don't see why not. People have been asking forever to have live coding, just live streaming, hanging out of the Bibites. So why not? Once in a while, just have the chat, answer questions, and have a simulation running.
Hmm. Yeah,
Seems
it'll be
like
fun.
easy content, if you ask me.
Absolutely, that's what we like. Okay. Well,
All
thanks
right.
everyone for joining. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And don't forget to check out our demo. And if not, our release is March 4th. And hope to see you all playing the game.
Yeah.